connect with our friends through today's community comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
We are back with more community comment here on 95.3 WBEV. And without further ado, here is Terry Bell.
Thank you so much, Jake. We're talking about the services in Dodge County for aging and disability with the Aging and Disability Resource Center, Amanda Higgins and Jetty Farmer with us. And wanted to know more about a letter sent out to MAP members who are at risk of losing their benefits.
Yeah, so for the listeners who are maybe unfamiliar with the term, MAP stands for Medicaid Purchase Plan. So when I explain to people about what Medicaid is in Wisconsin, I explain it as this big umbrella in the state for people who have low income and assets. And when you apply, income and assets are usually asked of the person who's applying. And then it filters through all of these benefits, and whatever fits the particular situation is the one that sticks for what they're eligible for. And MAP, I would say, is very special to Wisconsin because it does have the highest income and asset limit out of all of the Medicaid programs. And it's really specialized for people who have a disability determination. So anyways, that's kind of what the MAP program is at large. And one of the eligibility requirements of the MAP program is that you have to perform some type of work. And a lot of people get a little confused when you see the work as part of the eligibility, and they're like, what? I have a disability, I can't work, there's no way I can do this. But work can come in two different forms. You can either have paid employment, you have a job and you're getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, and you work for a company or an agency, or you can do what's called in-kind work. And in-kind work essentially is like a bartering system where you're doing a job for someone, and in exchange they give you something of similar value. So I have some people who walk a neighbor's dog or get the neighbor's mail because of maybe some mobility issues. In an exchange, they get a bag of groceries. And with the work component, you only have to do 1 hour a month. So that's another misconception, that people have to work all these hours, but you really don't. You just have to work 1 hour a month. But anyways, this letter that got sent out, it actually got sent out to about 1,200 MAP enrollees on June 13th, and it was informing those people that they were not meeting that work requirement. So they didn't send in proof of their earnings or an in-kind statement between them and the other person that they're doing that in-kind bartering for. There wasn't documentation proving that they were doing their work. So it basically said that in the letter that you had to respond by the end of June that you were doing the work, and you would have to respond in our area to the Capital Consortium, or you would lose that Medicaid benefit. And Medicaid is just such a huge lifesaver for people who either are using Medicaid as a secondary insurance to Medicare to try to buffer the out-of-pocket cost, or that is their primary health insurance. So it can be really devastating for people who maybe don't even understand the letters to realize something as simple can be fixed. So we just wanted to share that with the community, that if you received that letter, you weren't quite sure how to respond, and your benefits are now terminated, please give us a call because we can help you restart those benefits.
Yes, don't hesitate to do so. If you've already let the letter grow cold and you still haven't made those contacts, do so now. It's never too late to make a step in the right direction.
Yeah, just because your benefits are off does not mean that they can't go back on.
Right.
And I gather what we're talking about is the cuts that were made in the recent federal budget bill, and how that's going to affect people on Medicaid.
This is actually separate from that.
Thanks for clearing that up.
So people had to have the work requirement anyhow. So for a while during COVID, the work requirements weren't required because that was put on hold. But now the work requirements are necessary again for the MAP, whether it's the in-kind or regular, go to a regular type of job type of situation. those requirements are necessary again. And so people aren't used to sending in their proof of work like they were in the past. So now it's getting back into that habit again of proving that you are working just for this one type of Medicaid.
Yes, that's a good point. Not all Medicaid has a work requirement, at least today speaking. We might see that with the federal legislation that was passed. But right now in Wisconsin, that work piece is only for the MAP program.
Right. Yeah. For those who are not familiar, tell us about the MAP program and why the work requirements are different than other kinds of Medicaid.
I think, to be honest with you, I don't know exactly the reason. Do you know?
Well, there's higher value to it. So normally with Medicaid, you can only have $2,000 in assets. So assets being like what's in your savings account or what's in your checking account, or if you have savings bonds or CDs or a life insurance policy or anything like that. Whereas with MAP, you can have up to $15,000. So there's different amount of money that you can have. And so because of that, there's just different requirements because you are working. It's a work incentive program. So they're encouraging people to work.
I was just going to say that.
Yes.
Yeah, just there's the encouragement to work, to give back to society, to have a purpose, to wake up in the morning and do something.
Right.
And I think with the asset limits specifically, I think it was encouraging people to have more of a savings.
Right. So you have more of a savings and you can have more money that your income is coming in per month as well. So normally with the other Medicaid programs, there's different levels of the Medicaid programs, and you can have a different amount of money coming in per month, whether it's through earned income or unearned income. And unearned income is money that you're getting, like, for example, through Social Security, versus earned income is what you're getting through work or in kind. You're earning that money. So that amount of money level changes with different Medicaid programs. And with the MAP program, you can have more income coming in.
Very good. Perhaps what we've been talking about raises some questions in your mind. If you'd like to join the conversation, you can call us at 920-887-9595. So you can call or text at that number, 920-887-9595. Or call us here at the WBEV studio at 885-4446. Also, an issue right now happening is Medicaid coverage during eligibility redeterminations, I should say.
Yeah, so there was just some slight changes, again, not connected to the federal bill that was recently passed. This was already in the works for a little bit here in Wisconsin, but traditionally when people are on Medicaid, and a lot of people that are listening might refer it to as Badger Care, which Badger Care is just one of those sub-programs of Medicaid, but also food share and some other benefits, people do have to do a renewal. And depending on their benefit program, it can be once a year, it can be every 6 months, depending on the person's situation. And so the state Medicaid agency, they were trying to lessen that burden a little bit when it comes to the renewal, because you not only have to respond when it's your renewal time, but you also have to provide new verification documents for all of your income and assets that Jenny kind of listed, which can be kind of burdensome and maybe a little bit overwhelming. Not quite sure how to get the documents, when to turn it in, who to turn it into. So anyways, the new redetermination for Medicaid is that the agency, which is the Capital Consortium for Dodge County, is going to start doing more of what's called administrative renewals. And those administrative renewals are basically saying that the consortium has access to these electronic databases such as the DMV and certain financial institutions that are able to put in a request and automatically get that information on behalf of that Medicaid member or food share member. So the person doesn't have to show proof. The agency can take that burden and just get the information that they need to make that renewal either favorable or unfavorable. However, if the agency cannot verify that income, because maybe it's employment income and they don't have those electronic connections to all of the employers, or maybe an asset that they don't have that connection to, the individual is still going to have to be responsible for turning in those documents. So I think it's going to be easier for most people, especially who are on maybe just Social Security benefits. They don't have to turn in that statement they received in January and their renewal is in September, and they're like, oh shoot, I don't know where I put that piece of paper. But I think it's going to be a lot easier for the agency too to get the information that they need and not have to worry about so much paperwork. So you should be still getting notices if the agency can't complete that administrative renewal. And as always, you know, if you get something from the consortium that's really hard to read, because that's very true. They've been working at trying to make those letters easier and more plain language, but we still see some letters that are a little complicated, but don't hesitate to reach out.
Very good. We're going to take a break for the news and be back for more community comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Step into a world so fine, shiny floors that truly shine.
Thank you so much, Jake. We are talking with Amanda Higgins and Jenny Farmer with the Aging and Disability Resource Center of Dodge County. If you'd like to join the conversation, you can give us a call or a text at 920-887-9595 or call us here at the studio at 885-4446. It's been confusing time for a lot of people. Everything that's been happening in Congress with what we know is the big, beautiful bill that just passed. It's creating a lot of concern about what might happen to people who are on Medicaid in Wisconsin. It seems like quite a few people could potentially lose their Medicaid. It seems like a lot of people will see their work requirements increase. And I was just wondering if maybe we could take some time here to maybe clear up some misunderstandings and then maybe make things a little clearer for people listening.
Yeah, the biggest thing to know right now is that we don't have a lot of answers. So while the bill did pass, there's still a lot of unknowns. So there is a lot that needs to trickle down to our state still. The federal end of it still needs to be cleared up. There's a lot of language inside the bill that isn't understood. And once that language is understood more, then our state needs to work on figuring out what that means for us. So while we would love to be able to sit down and explain this is exactly what's going to happen to our state's Medicaid program, we don't know yet. And we would love to be able to explain it so that way everybody on the radio can know. And as soon as we understand it, that is definitely what our goal is, to come on the radio and explain it to everybody, because we want to understand it as well and how it's going to affect everyone. One thing that we want to encourage everyone, though, is to continue speaking to your senators and your legislators and let them know what the Medicaid programs mean to you. I know a lot of you listeners have been speaking to people, and we want that to continue. And we're going to share a little bit of information with you on how to contact them. I don't know if, Amanda, you want to add more on?
I think just putting a human connection to what people are afraid of, and share your story of how Medicaid and food share really impact your life as an individual. Is it the services and supports that are coming into your home because of Medicaid to allow you to live independently that might be limited or restricted in some way? Or are you worried about what your budget's going to look like with buying groceries if there's some restrictions or limitations on food share? I don't think that the conversation is over. Just because this bill has passed doesn't mean that there can be some improvements. I know Jenny during the break was talking about your meeting that you listen to every Friday, and it's a really great meeting to really for us to kind of understand what's going on. And what you've told me is just that there's still a lot of unknowns in Wisconsin. Wisconsin has a very unique Medicaid program. Every state in the country operates their Medicaid program differently. Wisconsin has a federal Medicaid dollar match. So because that federal pot of money is essentially going to be gone or reduced, Wisconsin needs to know how we're going to pivot from that and still try to keep as many people on benefits as possible. But we just don't know exactly what's going to look like, and we just really wanted to really lay down the need for you to contact not only your federal legislatures, but your state and local legislatures. I think there's a lot of those people who are making votes on these legislations and laws that don't understand Medicaid. I mean, just in our conversation here, we've talked about how complicated Medicaid is. It's not one size fits all. And so I think just really explaining how that is impactful to you and to have more of a voice is really going to maybe shine some light.
Maybe think about Medicaid is more than just, it affects more people than you even realize. there's people whose jobs are paid for through Medicaid. So, for example, if you have a caregiver coming into your home and you are someone who receives Medicaid, that caregiver is paid through Medicaid dollars. So their job is paid through Medicaid dollars. So it affects people in more ways than you even think of. Or there's things like the Medicare Savings Plan, which is Medicaid for people who have Medicare, their Part B premium that needs to be paid. So it's just a small form of Medicaid.
Transportation to medical appointments. Can you imagine if you need to go to a medical appointment, you need to schedule, what is it, MTM or VAO? I always screw it up because it keeps changing. Anyways, the Medicaid transportation provider in Wisconsin, if you need to use them to go to a medical appointment, but because things are going to be changing, how is that going to look like for you being able to get your blood work done because of your warfarin levels?
Right. So we want to make sure that if you are so inclined and you do want to contact your representatives, that you know how to do so. So in Wisconsin, our senators are Ron Johnson and Tammy Baldwin. If you want to call them, Ron Johnson's number is 202-224-5323. And Tammy Baldwin's number is 202-224-5653. If you want to look up their contact information online, if you want to be able to do emails, you can look up any senator with www.senate.gov. You can then also go to www.house.gov/representatives. For the House of Representatives in Dodge County, the southern part of Dodge County is Scott Fitzgerald, and the north part is Glenn Grothman. I think I said that right.
I think you did too. I was looking on the map, and it just kind of hovered around Beaver Dam, north and then south. There were some other pockets of Dodge County that went in different directions, but generally speaking, we just wanted to provide some information. But if you go to those two websites and you type in your zip code, it's going to specifically pull up who your contact is.
Very good. I think another thing to keep in mind is that, and it just goes to what you had talked about earlier, the uncertainty of all of this. Any changes wouldn't take effect for another year or two, I don't believe. Am I close?
Right.
I'm guessing it's going to depend on the program. You know, and it's maybe a small rollout. I don't think people are going to wake up one morning and be like, bam, these are all new rules. I think it's going to be kind of a slow rollout.
If memory serves me right, the last meeting I went to, I believe that the state had just passed their bill for everything for the next 2 years. So we're good for right now, but we just need to be prepared for what's coming down the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. We are going to take a break and be right back on Community Comment. We're talking with Amanda Higgins and Jenny Farmer of the Aging and Disability Resource Center of Dodge County. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
There's a lot of reasons to shop at Macy's, but
We're talking with Jenny Farmer and Amanda Higgins with the Aging and Disability Resource Center of Dodge County. We thank them. And we should probably mention that people who are in the food share program may have lost some food, and there are ways for them to get it back.
Yes. So if you ever lose if you're receiving food share and for some reason you lose some of your food, whether it's due to a power outage, flood, fire, during the recent tornadoes that we had, you can get replacement benefits. You have 10 days to request the replacement of those benefits, and another 10 days to complete the request for replacement. You can do this either online, on the phone, or by mail. In our area, you can call the Capital Consortium. The Capital Consortium's number is 888-794-5556. You can also call the ADRC and ask us to help you with this. I don't know if we've thrown out the number, but that's 920-386-3580. We're always happy to help as well. But something to keep in mind, because sometimes, food spoils, and we want to make sure that you don't feel like you need to try to salvage this food because you may have just gone grocery shopping the day before the tornado, and all of a sudden you've lost power and your food went bad. We want to make sure that there's ways that that you can have that replenished. So you can also request it on the Access app. If you have the Access app, that's something that people who have food share or Medicaid program, they have that app. So that's another way that you can make that request for more benefits.
Very good. There are a lot of events coming up that you want to make people aware of. First of all, some Medicare classes that you'll be conducting.
You can talk about those.
Yes, so we highly encourage you to take our Medicare class. It's a class that we offer in Dodge County at the ADRC building, with the Human Services building. We have one coming up July 22nd at 9 a.m., and we have one August 18th at 1 p.m., and then we also have a joint class we'll be teaching with Jefferson County August 26th at 4 p.m. at the Watertown Library. We do that once a year in the fall. We love teaching a class with them in Watertown. If you want to take the Watertown class, if that just happens to work well for you, you don't have to live in Watertown to take that class. But if you want to take the Watertown class, call 920-674-8734. You're actually calling the Jefferson County ADRC when you call to register for that. It's just their turn to take the registration this year.
We play hot potato.
We just go back and forth on who's doing that. Same class, no matter if you take it in Juneau or if you take it in Watertown. It's an important class to take. Like I was saying before, there's some things you just don't learn in high school. We all have to go on Medicare at some point in time. It's a long class, it's about 2 hours, but we go through all the basics, important information. If you haven't learned everything you need to know during that class and you have more questions afterwards, you can have a one-on-one appointment with us afterwards.
Mm-hmm. It's free.
It's free.
It's unbiased.
Unbiased.
We don't sell any products. We're not insurance agents. We just talk about the facts and how the different structure works for everybody.
We make it as painless as possible.
We're kind of dorks a little bit.
Yeah, we're a little dorky.
It's very informal. You don't have to dress up or be fancy.
Right.
We're just normal people just trying to share education information.
Right. We send you home with a lot of papers afterwards for you to review afterwards. You don't even have to take notes. We have the notes printed out for you, so we make it as simple as possible. But we highly encourage you to sign up. Anybody who is approaching the age of 65, or if you haven't signed up for Medicare yet, and let's say you're reaching retirement age and you're going to be signing up for Medicare, or if you're on disability benefits and you're reaching that 2-year mark, eventually you're going to be on Medicare automatically. You're another person who is going to need to know about Medicare. So we highly encourage you to join us. We have a Stepping on Falls prevention class that's going to be starting July 17th.
Thursday.
This
Thursday. I'm one of the facilitators for Stepping On. And we would be very interested in having a couple more people sign up, because more the merrier, right? The better the conversations. I think we have about 8 people signed up right now, but it's a falls prevention class, so it's just learning about tips and tricks on being safe in your home, along with being safe out in the community. There is just such a high percentage of falls in Wisconsin, which then trickle down to medical expenses and bills coming your way. So if you can learn some simple exercises and things to be mindful of, that can really help you in the long run to stay independent in your home. And it's a 2-hour class. We are holding it this summer at the Watermark in Beaver Dam. If you're interested, we do need people to register. Unfortunately, it can't be where you just walk in. This is an evidence-based class through the Wisconsin Institution of Healthy Living. So it has to be very structured with how we present the class to make it fit the mold of the evidence-based class and to improve those statistics. But we have a physical therapist that's coming a couple days to talk. We have a pharmacist that's coming, and we have an emergency preparedness guy that will come in and talk too. So it's an 8-week class. If you're interested, tell a friend, bring a friend, and sign up.
I imagine a fall is a big event in an older person's life. It may mark the turning point, I'm guessing, from going from being able to live fairly independently to maybe needing more help than they did before.
Absolutely. You're more cautious. Bones might be easier to break as you get older. So just learning about how all of that impacts you. There's a lot of storytelling of people's fall experiences, and then we kind of come together as a class and talk about how that made the person feel, what they did afterwards. So it's very engaging. You don't have to just sit there and listen. It's very back and forth between the facilitators and the audience.
Okay, very good.
Another great thing that we have coming up is Blue Heron Boat Tours. So here in Horicon, we have this wonderful marsh that we all enjoy. Our ADRC is putting on, sponsoring some boat tours. It's free for people who are 60 and above, $25 for anyone under the age of 60. We have spots available still on August 13th and on September 17th. If you go on September 17th, you actually go with Amanda and I.
That might be the funner one.
Right, of course.
I'm just kidding.
Of course, if you get to go with us. So it's at Blue Heron. You just need to call the ADRC to sign up. There is room for 30 people per boat. Call the ADRC at 920-386-3580 to sign up to register, and you just get to sit back and go on a boat tour. So we highly encourage you going. You'll be going to 305 Mill Street in Horicon to just hop on the boat. And like I said, 60 and above, it's absolutely free. So we really encourage you to sign up and join us. And
We did it last year. It's so fun.
it's a great time just going through,
Watching
just
the
going on the
birds
boat,
and-
watching the
And
birds.
we're surrounded by, all this great opportunity to do that.
Right.
So seize it, for
Yeah,
sure.
we really encourage you
And
to
free.
go.
Who likes free?
Right. Yeah, take advantage of the free stuff.
Very quickly now, as time runs out, let's talk about the shopping bus trips coming up.
Yeah, this is new. Jenny and I are definitely not experts on this. It's only been up and running for about a month or so. But ADRC has these accessible mini buses, and we decided to repurpose them a little bit and offer shopping trips. So I believe it's the third Tuesday of the month, and it's let me just see here. I think it's for the majority of the day. I think it's going to depend on how many people need to go shopping. It's not meant for people in communities that already have a taxi service like Watertown and Beaver Dam specifically. But if you live in Lowell or Reeseville and you need to come do some shopping at Walmart or maybe pick up some prescriptions or do some other errands, it's really meant to fill in that gap of people that have no transportation transportation or lack of transportation in more of those rural areas. So shopping, my understanding, primarily is going to be in Beaver Dam, and during that shopping experience, they want to do one fun stop. If it's going to grab some ice cream or going to the park for a half hour to hang out and just enjoy outside. But it's also helping to enhance isolation and just ensures that the Dodge County residents are getting their needs met. So if you're interested in going on that shopping bus trip, like I said, it's the third Tuesday of the month. I would just call our office to get more detailed information on what that day looks like.
Okay, Amanda Higgins, Jenny Farmer, thanks for an hour well spent. You've been listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Hey, Terry, if we want to, we do have a caller on the line. I can make sure we can squeeze that in.
Oh, yeah, very good.
I'm game.
Yep.
All right, caller, you are on the air. Just make sure your radio is turned down.
Yeah, let me turn this. Hi, enjoy the show. I got a question. Everything with the Medicare is mainly for people that retired. Now, here's my situation. I'm 60 years old, and I was let go. I had talked to your facility. They sent me an application for disability. I've got many issues. I'm not going to – it's a laundry list, so I'm not going to waste your time on that.
That's okay.
Where do I go? They sent me an application. I guess my biggest question is, if my family, we never believed in this disability welfare, but, it's a point, sometimes you got to say you give. And am I better off getting a lawyer with disability, or can I just fill that application out, send it in? I guess I don't know where to go.
I just have a question. Just because you name dropped a couple topics, are you talking about Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security disability?
Well, I don't qualify for any of that because I'm 60.
Sure. So there's different applications for each of those three programs. So I guess to maybe figure out what better suits your needs financially and otherwise, you might want to call the Aging and Disability Resource Center to kind of understand what those three benefit topics are, which one is going to fit you in terms of applying, because with most of those, there is not a paper application. Medicaid, there's a paper application, but that's really daunting. I think it's like 42 pages or something that is just unnecessary. And we can definitely make whatever that application that you want to fill out much easier to do than to fill it out on paper. So
you're out of Juneau, right?
Yep, our office is in Juneau. If you're familiar with Clearview, we're right across the street in their old building.
And whoever I talked to, they were fantastic. They helped me out. And she talked about disability. So she sent me, a packet.
So you're talking about our how-to packet that we send to people to help them get started with our disability application. That packet isn't going to be used to send to Social Security. That's a packet that we send to people to get them gather the information that you'll actually need to apply for disability, but it's not an actual application.
Okay, because she said fill it out, send it in, and then that's what I'm, asking. I got friends that disability, they got lawyers. And I don't know if you have to have a lawyer. You can do this on your own or what?
You don't have
I mean,
to
you can. You absolutely can, but there's no need for it. Usually when we talk to people, lawyers get involved at more of the appeal stage and not necessarily the initial application. But we can talk about the ins and outs and what that even looks like for you before you even apply, just so you know what you're getting into.
Okay. Yeah, I can always call the facility. I think maybe we should have a segment on this, pre-retirement, or, I don't qualify until I'm 67, and that puts a wrench in things. I was let go, and I took some time off. I went into my own funds to relax, and now I got to figure out where I'm going to go,
That's challenging.
I got disability. I can't do the same jobs I used to do.
Sure. Yeah, call our office and we can definitely schedule more of a one-on-one conversation. And depending on your comfort level, we can tell you on how to complete that application yourself, or if you need some support, we can talk about that too.
Okay.
Good luck to you.
Very good. Thank you all for listening.